I got exposed into doing a bicycles project since 2010 when we founded the organization which is called Union of Hope. When we founded the organization, we came into a partnership with our friends, Wheels for Life. And since that time, Wheels for Life has been granting us money to distribute the bicycles to HIV-positive children and to HIV-positive women in the community of Apache. We felt most of our community needs mobility. And because our health system is structured, which an average person has to walk 15 kilometers to access a medical doctor or to access a medical facility. The reason why we distributed these bicycles, one was to create access to health facility for the HIV positive patients to be in position to collect the ARV on time, and also they be in position to save the time that they have been spending on food while walking to access the facility. Now, mostly the HIV positive people are people who are seen as a community misfit. They are not productive in the community.
And a bicycle became a tool for recognizing that as much as you are HIV positive, you are also seen as important.
Now, the greatest thing that the bicycle project has done is that it has increased the number of people testing for their HIV. Because now everybody feel, if I go and test and know my HIV status, I will be given a bicycle. But of course, the greatest challenge here in the country is taxes. Because if the taxes would be low, or if we would be tax exempted, there are a lot of charities in the US and across the world who wants to give us bikes in containers so that we are able to distribute to very many HIV positive people. Our plan was to distribute 5,000 bicycles in 5 years. That means every year we will be distributing 1,000. But you can imagine since 2010 up to now, we have only distributed 1,700. That is far below what we wanted to achieve. And the issue is because there are a lot of donors, but then because of too much taxes, the people like Bicycles for Humanity in Canada who wanted to give us a container of bicycles, but because of the taxes, we could not be able to raise the money as an organization. Because we are volunteer-based, most of us have to use our salaries that we earn from somewhere else to be able to fund the operations. Our thoughts and our thinking is, if the government of Uganda would reduce the taxes, we will be able to achieve a lot of bicycles distributed.
The Bicycles for Development movement is a social movement that emerged in response to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It's not only just a social movement, but it's also propelled by activists, practitioners, policymakers at multiple levels. And again, it's centralized by this idea that the bicycle is essential for achieving mobility justice and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. It's important though to note that this movement is debatable. Whether or not it's a coherent movement is subject to multiple positions, and depending on who you're speaking to, it could also be just framed up as a bunch of different organizations that happen to either use the bicycle or cycling broadly to achieve social development objectives.
Vengo de una familia campesina. Desde muy pequeño hemos trabajado en el campo. Somos agricultores. Estoy sacando mi secundaria en el modo sabatino, porque mis posibilidades eran bajas para poder ir a estudiar a un instituto, debido a que el camino era muy largo y se me dificultaba tener una bicicleta propia. Entonces mi mamá decidió, mi hermana y yo salimos juntas en una bicicleta a estudiar a Tichaná. Entonces he tratado de sacar mi secundaria mediante los retos y todas las dificultades que tengo que pasar para poder llegar a la escuela. Y yo y mi hermana nos levantábamos desde las 4 de la mañana cada sábado. Teníamos que estar a las 7 en la escuela. Mi mamá trabaja y nosotros nos hacíamos cargo de nuestros hermanos. Entonces nosotros se nos hacía el tiempo muy corto. Entonces nos íbamos las dos en la bicicleta y nos íbamos rápido. Entonces nuestra mejor posibilidad de ir a la escuela, nuestro mejor medio fue nuestra bicicleta. La necesidad del uso de la bicicleta está más hasta los 15, 16 años, porque es la etapa de la educación primaria. Entonces ellos les gusta la bicicleta, van en bicicleta y solo ha quedado esa necesidad en las que estudian muy lejos. O sea, es ir de las que van a estudiar secundaria a nivel diario o sabatino. Ellas necesitan. Entonces queda como una necesidad. Usaban la bicicleta para ir a la escuela y para ir a los servicios de salud, para no usar transporte público, o a comprar a las pulperías de otra comunidad, a las farmacias. La gente prefería ir en bicicleta para no ir en transporte público, porque ahora es el tema de situación económica. No hay para pagar, el pasaje es carísimo. Cuando vamos a la escuela nos vamos juntas en la bicicleta, nos cuidamos entre todas, porque si yo voy en bicicleta voy con mis compañeras y no tengo el riesgo de poderme estacionar en algún lugar que esté algún valiente, o yo pueda tener algún accidente o mi bicicleta se dañe. Entonces nos ayudamos como compañeras y vamos todas juntas para cuidarnos entre todas. Entonces me parece muy bonito. Disfrutemos todas al mismo tiempo de la bicicleta y así mismo sacamos nuestros estudios. Sí, por eso pienso que me ha ayudado mucho, porque nos protegemos entre todas. En algunas temporadas de sembrar, pues, vemos que el cambio climático no es el mismo de hace muchos años debido a la contaminación ambiental. Primeramente es la tierra y luego los campesinos, que somos los que nos notamos afectados, porque nosotros dependemos de nuestra tierra para poder cultivar nuestros siembros. Entonces yo pienso que la bicicleta ha sido un impacto en buena manera en el mundo, debido a que la bicicleta causa un ruido bajito, no contamina, no libera gases contra el medio ambiente, mientras que los autos, los buses, las motos, las bicicletas son más flexibles, no usan gasolina, es un transporte más ecológico para el medio ambiente. Todos los cambios en nuestro mundo es debido a la contaminación y al mal manejo del ser humano contra la tierra. El medio ambiente, la naturaleza, la madre tierra es mi casa. Al igual de todos los seres vivos, yo también soy un ser vivo, entonces pienso que sí. Tengo mucho impacto en la tierra y tengo que cuidarla.
At Charlie's, we run a Build-A-Bike program, which teaches youth everything that they need to know to ride safely in the city. Participants build up a bike over the course of 10 weeks using recycled parts. And then towards the end of the program, they're also given a helmet, a set of lights, a lock, and a bell as well. There's something very special about somebody's confidence that gets built up when they do, throughout the course of 10 weeks, get to put together their own bicycle and learn how to repair it if something breaks, but also just having the knowledge of having put everything together themselves. I think invaluable, and that alone can be such a huge boost, which can, help them in other aspects of their lives as well. There's a huge access problem when it comes to cycling in Toronto. It's one of the biggest barriers because bikes are so expensive and because of bike theft as an issue. This sort of helps just provide a solution to the problems that exist in terms of getting more people to ride bikes in the city.
So mobility justice really tries to get at the historical inequities and power relations that have existed in transportation systems. Why does a bicycle empower one individual, but at the same time, in a contradictory way, marginalize someone else? So we're really trying to understand, instead of just thinking about bicycles for development, pulling back a bit and saying, well, in terms of mobility, what does a bicycle do and why does it do it and who does it do it for? And when you think about it more in a mobility justice framework, you really get at the heart of the issue, which is equity.
For me, I think biking is about having agency and feeling like you can be independent in the city. And whether that's getting around your neighborhood or being able to start, going to school on your own or running errands on your own, or just feeling like this city isn't this gigantic, scary place, that you can actually access it and, you have the freedom of your own bike. Even in places with really good access to transit, like having something that is your own, that you know how to take care of, that you feel comfortable with, and you've got a group of friends who maybe you can, go out with on a bike. I think that opens up so much more of the city to you. And I don't think that there are a lot of, brown and black kids who have access to these programs or even feel like cycling is something that's for them. And so I don't think you can underestimate the value of just having a space that people know the door is always open.
My name is Kaylin. Today is my first day as a bike mechanic at Charlie's Freewheels. I participated in this season's Build-A-Bike program, which was a queer, trans, non-binary specific group. I think it's hard to enter a bike space as a queer person, so being able to have something that's specific to women, trans, and non-binary people really opened up my curiosity and allowed me to step into the space, which is just so amazing. I think it's the image of bikes shops, bike mechanics. It's notoriously very cis het. There's maybe something a little bro-y about it. A lot of trades put on this really masculine front that just kind of makes it scary to ask for help or just state your needs in spaces. So it becomes a necessity to be okay, well, I'm just gonna not do that thing. I'm going to take public transportation. I'm gonna avoid those things. I just think it's really important to prioritize these groups that maybe don't feel welcome, providing barrier-free programming, providing education, creating these portals for people to enter into the space. It shows that they're interested in teaching people, not just trying to keep the same specific kind of people in the trade, and it shows a level of care, I think. I actually was terrified of biking when I was a kid, and so put it off learning how to bike for a long time. I started biking out of necessity, I think. Biking feels very important because there's so many ways of navigating the city via car, public transportation that still you have to pay for. And so giving people access to bikes and the tools to maintain their own bike really removes barriers on how far you can travel in the city, where you can access. If you're stuck in a home, if you're stuck in a neighborhood, if you're stuck in an unsafe space, having access to a bike, being able to leave your problems, your worries, and get your body going, connect with a friend, I think is so valuable. As a queer person, not having like a wonderful home experience, you know, having the ability to access a bike, to remove myself from a situation without needing to learn how to drive, without like walking 5 kilometers, you know, like it provides a lot of safety and agency for people who maybe don't have that opportunity.
We've seen a real range of benefits with very, diverse populations. And so there is some merit to the claims made by the UN that yes, the bicycle represents an opportunity to achieve quote unquote sustainable development. But the question is, does it really depend on context and what other supports are there for some of these folks to thrive through the use of the bicycle? It's not just about giving them a bicycle and their lives will forever be changed in positive ways. We need to look at this with more nuance and think about some of the structural inequalities that don't necessarily allow them to benefit as much as they could.
I'm not a quote-unquote cyclist. I'm someone who wants to cycle because I know that it's part of a sustainable future, and I feel good about it. It makes me healthier, it makes me happier, but I want to make sure that enough marginalized folks see themselves represented, see people like them cycling. And the more of us who are out there cycling on the roads, the more people will feel like they can join in. And so a better way forward is about making sure there's a place for everybody who maybe doesn't feel like they are welcomed into some of those other types of programs.
A mí me gustaría poder transmitir una pequeña enseñanza a las demás personas para que utilicemos este modo más ecológico para nuestro planeta y más económico, y así es una forma muy saludable para nuestro cuerpo, porque ahora veo más, antes íbamos solo mi hermana y yo, entonces ahora veo que van más chicos y chicas, van en bicicleta a la escuela.
A bicycle is a tool for mobility. A bicycle is a tool that will bring transformation. If we all embrace and ensure that everybody in the community who are HIV positive have a bicycle, then know that give a bike, change a life. Give a bike, transform a community.
you.